All right, we have just gotten short here on crude at around 96.12 average, and again, we're looking at the profile from overnight, as you can see here, and we sold off hard yesterday. We really took out all the longs over the past week with the action that we saw in crude, and to me this is a reactive bounce into the oil number that's coming here in the next few minutes. So we're short here at about 96.12 average, and again, we're going to probably just put our stops in somewhere above the 97 area over time here. We do have a oil inventories number coming out in about an hour, so we are trading in front of that. Keep that in mind, and we'll see how this trade works. But this profile to us got pretty top heavy. We were talking about this yesterday, and it sold off. Matter of fact, we were short yesterday for the bulk of this move. So this reactive mechanical bounce that we're seeing here this morning with the Apple earnings, etc., I'm basically saying again, prove to me that there's a reason to not be short this market based on this heavy profile that we saw the last couple days in overnight session. This was also bearish, but we've been seeing a lot of bearish tendencies, but then spiking. So again, we do have an oil inventories number, and the risk is basically less than $1, just over 97. You have to be out of this trade, and maybe even take a little bit off into the next hour, because that trade does play out in the next hour. So that's how we're looking at it. We did form a nice base here overnight in this area, 95.30, 95.60. So at least we should pull back to that, I would guess, maybe into the number. We'll see how that works out. Again, 6:23 a.m. Oil has been open for just a bit here this morning. All right, again, markets are open. We're back short, as we stated earlier. We've been short oil. There is an oil number coming out in about an hour and 20 minutes. We're short around 96.01 average now. We did actually plunge a little bit on the break here, added to the position at 96. Or rather 95.95, and we're trading 95.90. I've put a stop in. I'm going to put another one in at around break even on about 4, and we'll just move that to here. Actually, we're going to start to tighten this down a little bit and see if we can't get this thing to move a little bit. We're going to move the stop also on the higher piece there. So that's where we are. Again, watching this profile here, I think we should trade back to at least the 96.60 area, and matter of fact, I'll even put a little bid down here for half the position. That'll be about a 40-cent move, and see if we can't get a little bit more into this number here coming on the crude inventories level here in a bit. All right, the NASDAQ is rallying pretty hard as the ES is also making new highs. 1493s we're trading just now, so we're pushing towards that mechanical 1500. Seems like they're going to take it out here. Apple again down at 450, traded down to 450, but the NASDAQ doesn't care, even though the Apple is such a big piece of it. We are now offering up here 39 and 45 in additional to our short position that we have in crude, which again is about where we sold it, 96.20 area, 96.15. That's where we sold it. It's trading 96.13 as we speak. But let's take a look at the NASDAQ chart. And again, we're offering here to get started on a sell position. Again, I'd basically tell this market, prove me a new high. So I want to sell up into all rallies right now. And we traded down to 27.07 from 27.69. We like to see this price expansion, and we're seeing it. So we're offering 39 and 45 and a quarter here on the NASDAQ, and we may see it here quickly. So it is 7 a.m. We've been open a half an hour. The animal spirits are excited that they got such a value on the NASDAQ, holding 2,700 even after the Apple bad news that they're running this thing back up. Again, almost 30 points from the low last night. 27.07 was your low, and we're trading 27.36. So again, new shorts are getting squeezed, those that sold last night, but this is probably time that pros are getting in. All right, we stepped out for a coffee, and we did pick up our NASDAQ here at 27.39. You can see it spiked up into that area. Still short the crude. 7.15, that number comes in an hour. We're up about a dime on the trade, and we've got stops layered in just above for half the position, 40% of the position. And then the big stop is above, and the number comes in about 45 minutes on the crude level inventories, crude oil inventory. So we're bidding for half down here, 95.64, and we'll see how this one shakes out also right now, and we'll be back in a minute. But again, we are short the NASDAQ 2739. See how that shakes out also. But again, the profile was getting extended, just coming back into basically filling gaps from the last couple days and coming into value from Tuesday's session. So that's where we are. We're comfortable being short here, really up into a new high, and we'll trade accordingly. All right, oil is now trading 95.82, and we're going to move again a piece of the stop down to break even here at about 96, maybe 96.01, just to not have it on the even number. And again, bidding for half down here at 95.64 into the oil number here in the next few minutes. We're short the NASDAQ also, and we're watching the beans here. The beans are going to open in 10 minutes. We've been watching. We thought the beans would sell off from that 1460 area. We got that short yesterday, paid off nicely, and we thought that 1420 area came into play, and we're sitting at 1418 now as we come into the open market. Everybody's pretty short, so now is not the time to be short, again, based on the profile of the bean chart. So we're watching this, and we'll watch the open here in about 20 minutes, see how that goes, see how beans trade. Maybe a long opportunity there. And again, pretty good trading day. NASDAQ trading 27.36, we sold 39, and we're offering, again, we're already short oil. Move stop to break even on 40% of the position that's left, and leave the other stop until the crude number is out here in 40 minutes, and bidding half at 95.64. We'll be back to see how the trade plays out 7:22. All right, we've moved our stop on oil back to 95.99, so it's basically a scratch trade into the oil number here in 30 minutes, 8 o'clock. The inventory levels come out. NASDAQ, same thing. It came back and it's testing the 27.39 high that we sold earlier. It pulled back, and we haven't done anything. We haven't taken any off. Again, offering a bit higher, 27.45 also, just to leg into the position higher. And that's it. It's pretty simple right now. We're just waiting. Apple's back to the high of the day, 464, after hitting that 450. Amazon hitting highs. The ES is at 1496. The 1500 party hats are getting broken out. I can hear the pundits today talking about how great it is that even though Apple missed, and they really didn't miss, it's just the way the market perceives the numbers, is celebrating, and we're at new highs, folks. So I can see this playing out at the end of the day, and yes, we are short. All right, again, just a quick update, 7:33, and we've got stops on 40% of our position on crude into the numbers, just because we've got the inventory number coming out at 8 o'clock, which is in 27 minutes. So we're going to take off 40% here at 95.99. Beans have opened at 14.1975. We'll be watching that. And overall stops on the oil trade is on a new high at 97.06, so you can see that. So we're going to pull out the bid below and just leave our stop in above 97.06, and we'll be back on the oil trade. As far as the beans, again, they're just opening here at 14.19. I'm leaning more to the long side this morning, but I'll wait for some signals and some time to play out. So I'm scratch 40% of the oil trade and holding for the oil number here in a half hour. There's really nothing else to do. I've got to stop in 97.06, and waiting now for some direction on the NASDAQ further. Are we going to go higher? Are we going to base here, this 27.30 area, and go higher? Or are we going to reverse here after this big move, basically to gap fill? So that's where we are. We'll be back with some ideas as we move on in the day. Okay, we still have the short NASDAQ and short a little bit of crude into the number here. Again, nothing's happening really in either. We're basically a little up on the NASDAQ and flat 96.01 here on oil as we wait 18 minutes into the number. I would get long beans here if we broke out, say, over 25.75 and actually have a buy stop. So I'm waiting for some direction here, but I think we just sold off from 1460 all the way down to 1415. So a nice 45.3% pullback, and that sets up pretty nicely in the fib move also that we just had. I think we should hold this 1410 area at least. So I'm looking for some type of momentum to the upside. If not, in the next half hour, if I don't see it, I'll pull that trade off and reevaluate. But we'll see what happens there on the beans. All right, again, we're watching the beans here on a breakout buy, 25.75. We've traded as high as 24.75, so we're getting close. Again, as long as we hold this 14.10 area, I'm looking to be a buyer on the beans after a 45-cent pullback. So we'll see if we can get engaged in this trade. We're still short the NASDAQ. It's a trend day so far. It's plain and simple. We've made higher highs, you can see on the profile. So you know, we're coming back into filling gaps. I've got orders in a little bit higher and basically a game plan. And matter of fact, I may even move this high, that sell just up a little bit, 49.50 or so. That's the breakdown of yesterday's trade. So I'm going to move that up a little bit, 10 points higher from our entry, 49. And again, prove me wrong. I'm basically saying this market's got to make a new high, especially in the NASDAQ. So we've got divergences going on with the S&P making new highs as we speak. And it's trading 14.95.50. Bring that in here. So again, everything is trending up. The machines are on, full on, buy, buy, buy. They want to hit this 1500 number. It just, you can feel it now today. So there's no sense in even getting involved on the S&P. Again, the opening range here had us 1487.5 to 91, and they're just taking them higher. We're now 4 points higher than that opening range. We have been as high as 5 points. Not a very wide range. Again, it's very overextended. I'm not chasing this thing higher. Again, I'd rather fade the NASDAQ right now and wait everywhere else. So that's where we are, and we'll be back again to see if this the bean trade takes off. It has not yet. And it is 7:49, oil number coming out in 10 minutes. All right, 8:05, the oil number's out, and we actually had a higher build. And what I've done is I've actually added a little bit to my offerings here at 96.40 and 88. And again, until we make a new high here, I want to be selling the crude on this bounce. So I've got some sells in. I'm short a little bit at 96.01, and I'm offering 96.40, 96.88, and I'll stop above 97s. So that's my plan right now. And again, on NASDAQ still is not moving. It's 8:05. It's 27.37. You can see the last hour and a half just kind of really the last hour just basing here around this area where we've sold. So this could be bullish. The longer we stay here without going down, it sets up for another move higher, especially with the trend day that we're looking at early part of the day here at 8:05. So we'll see what happens. Nothing has happened on beans. As a matter of fact, in 4 minutes I'm going to kill my order. I had a buy stop in above and nothing has happened there, so I'm going to kill that. And it's a timed trade for me, and we'll wait for later in the day for a move there, but right now it looks like that trade's not going to happen by 8:10. And that's where we are. So I'll be back in a little bit. And again, trades are in process, and we'll see how they shake out. And it looks like we may fill here on our oil at 96.40, and we did. And again, offering one more leg at 96.88, and I'll push all of this out over 97 today. Obviously, I'm wrong if it trades up that high today. Stops are in above, and we'll see if we can get that one more last fill at 96.88, and we'll go from there. All right, I am killing my bean order here at 10 after 8. Order is killed, and we are short NASDAQ, 27.39, again, 8:10, and we are short some crude, and that looks like this. We're short basically 96.12, and basically saying prove us a new high on this chart before we're going to stop out. Again, we're just kind of playing this ping pong between these two big paddles, one lower from last night and one upper from the last really 2 days. So let's see which player wins, so to speak. And basically it's for me, we're right in that middle of that range. The big move here, the fib is right here about 96.18, and we're about short right in that area. So it's right where I want to be. I'm placing my bets on the short side after a big run from 84 to 97. If we go over 97, we'll probably see 98, and I don't want to be short. So that's the risk on this trade, and we'll be back to see how it plays out later in the day. All right, not much has changed here. It is 9:03, so lunchtime back in the East Coast. And again, we're just kind of putting in the same price. Again, we sold the NASDAQ this morning. It wasn't around the, oh gosh, it was very early. It was right around 7:15 that we sold that. And here we are 2 hours later, a little bit lower than where we sold. So we've been bouncing around that price, but it is lunchtime. The volume has again decreased here. You can see it decreasing as it always does this time of day. We haven't gone to new highs like we have in the ES, and that should be reflected because of Apple. And again, we're short some oil, and we're right about where we sold that. Everything's just kind of stopped trading again. This whole market really needs events, and it needs intervention to move. And the only reason the NASDAQ is as wide as it is from 2770 to 2705 was Apple, and Apple is still down 10%, trading 460. It's been as low as 450 and as high as 470. So it's right in the middle of the day's range, and we're sitting up basically up at the highs of the day for the overall NASDAQ. So it's interesting that the NASDAQ, again, remember that we closed here at 2760, traded to 68, and we're now sitting around 2737. So we're down for the day about 23 points, or about a little less than 1%. Not much of a move down for the NASDAQ, considering how large Apple is a component of that. So with that being said, we're just kind of being patient here, and haven't done anything further, and that's really what trading is all about. If you're trading well, you're not doing much. You're picking your spots, and again, as long as we don't make new highs, we're basically saying we're going to stay in this trade for a little bit. So that's it. We'll be back later, see if the situation changes again. Short some oil. It's trading 96.34, and we're short at around 96.20 on average, and that's it. Back in a bit. All right, NASDAQ is starting to roll over a little bit here, 2732. Curious if it can break this 2730 area. It could probably fall pretty hard. Again, a little overextended to the downside this morning. We were oversold. That's why we rallied back into this area. Understanding where we came from is much more important than where we start sometimes, and that's why we were selling and offering up in this area. So again, on the oil side, we sold all the way up to 94.40, and we tipped up there to 96.40. We tipped up there to 96.70. We're now back to right about that value area, middle of the day here. Oil 9.30, and we're trading 96.15. We'll see how this shakes out, and back late in the day. As far as the NASDAQ is concerned, you can probably move half stops on this up into the area if you'd like to protect yourself a little bit, but I think we're looking lower the way this profile is looking over here. Again, if we break this 27.30, the midpoint of the day is right here around 27.29, and we could go lower. Again, very soft volume middle of the day, but the trend day has broken, and it does look to me like we'll head lower later in the day. All right, we are going to move a stop on half this position on the NASDAQ up here to about 26.37. Just protect some of the profits again, and you can see this is falling down. Once we break down here, we can fall back into this area pretty quickly. So 26 is the next logical step, and then below that all the way down here to 27.15. Matter of fact, I'll also even put a bid down here, 27.15, right above the day's low, and see if we can't circle back to that again. I think a lot of people, not understanding of market, where it came from and where the profile is, we're getting long into this based on the S&P moving to new highs, but clear divergences happening now in this market. So we're going to bid down here 16.75. Again, oil is breaking down, and we'll be back in a bit. All right, we have gone ahead and put a stop in on a half our position at 27.31, and we're trading 27.28 right now. Again, bounces, I'll sell more, but I want to at least lock in some of my profits on half the position, and we'll lock in about 8 points, rather about 7.25 points there at 31.75. So that's it. Oil again moving our way, and we are watching that. Oil 96.06 now, and again, we were selling all the way up here to 96.40. It actually peaked up to 96.70. We had another offer here, it never filled. So we're bidding for a third of our position here at 95.87, and we'll start covering as we move down. Our average right now is about 96.20, and again, that was the golden ratio over the last few days. Bounced to that zone, shook out some weekends, but again, no new high there. Unless you see a new high intraday and on the close, more importantly, this market looks a little heavy again to us. This little fake out here is, and with the build in crude, should put a pressure on this price, and we think oil could trade down to 92 to 94 zone over the next few days. So that's how we're supporting this, and the trade at least, and looking at it, and we'll be back here in a bit. All right, NASDAQ again doing its thing. As we said, once it breaks this 2730 area, it's going to fall probably very likely down to the day's low. So here we are betting 2717. We've got a half stop in 2731.75, and this trade is working out nicely. We're 15 points in the green. I may even move down the top stop just a little bit because of the time of the day. It's midday, 10 o'clock, and I can always put it back on. So I'm going to move the stops to 2728.75 on half for now, and then the other half I'm bidding 2717, and it's getting a little oversold. Here we lock in about 10 points, and we'll wait for it to go a little bit lower. All right, we've moved the stop to 2726.25 on half the position. That'll lock in almost 13 points on the NASDAQ, and again, we're betting down here at 2717. We'll keep sliding as we go here, so this NASDAQ trade has worked out beautifully. Again, saw no reason, due to the profile here, to be long this market this morning. Again, you don't just trade one time framing to the upside because the profile says we're going up. You need to use the previous day's nuances. With the Apple situation, there's no reason to be chasing this market. I think a lot of people get tricked into these markets, and trading is not that cut and dry. It's not an absolute game all the time. It can't be mechanized because of these situational nuances like Apple that really position you not to be to the long side this morning, unless you bought this morning with a stop below 2700. Real quick, there was really not a long entry in this market today. So we've taken the trade. The profits will be secured here. We'll start taking them off again on a stop at 27.26 and a bid down here at 27.17. So we'll be back to let you know how it works out. Oil's pretty much just where we sold it. And again, it's struggling here. We've got a couple hours to go there. Midday, and another good trading day here at mistrade.info. All right, this market continues to move down. We're going to move our stops to 24 1/4 on the top piece, and we're trading 21.50, and we're bidding 17. Again, getting very oversold, as you can see here. And we're coming into basically the area where we opened, filling that gap from the open here. And again, 27.18 was that number, and the low of the day is right here on the open hours, 27.17. So that's why we're bidding half there. So either of these, the stop or the limit gets taken out, that's going to be my half of the trade. Then I'll look to sell on any bounces that we continue to have, and this locks in about 15 points or 0.5% on the NASDAQ. Very good trade, patient trade. Again, we entered the trade here at around 7:10 this morning, and it is 10:10, so it took 3 hours. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being patient, waiting around. One and done type of trade. Again, we still have the oil short going on. Nothing's moving there, but we'll wait until the end of the day to see how that shakes out, and that trade will continue on here. Again, stops just above us here, 24 1/4 on half the position. That'll lock in about 15 points, and then I'll look to put it back on higher if we do fill in here. So again, 10:19, middle point of the day. No sense in stressing and rushing. We'll take half off, and basically gives us an average of about 27.54 on the trade, which means I can sell back up to this 27.56 all day with still being in a profitable position. I doubt we'll see that number, but that's kind of how we set up this day, and that's how we're setting up the trade. I still think we'll trade to the low of the day, but I'm just being a little conservative, taking a little piece off, and then we'll let the other half ride late into the day, see how low we can get. I think we'll probably take out the lows, if not even test these overnight lows of 27.07, possibly 2,700 overnight. So that's where we are, and again, just waiting probably to get stopped on the other half here, and there we are. So I'm going to kill this for now. We're oversold. We're probably going to bounce. I'll be looking for some type of bounce to add back to the position here in a bit. Back with more as the day develops. All right, the NASDAQ is doing wonderful things here, breaking down again to the lows of the day. We're right back to this 27.17 area. We're actually below at 27.15 as we speak. And I think we're going to go down and test much lower today. Again, Apple continues to be back to the lows of the area. We're going to put the other half stop in right now at around 26.50 just to lock in all gains. But again, we're just going to let this continue to fall. I may just move the stop here to 21, again, locking in another 18 points. But let's see how low this goes today and go from there. Oil again is doing its thing, slowly starting to roll over, and I think you'll see a pickup in the oil chart also rolling over later today, and we'll show that in a bit. All right, we just bought a third of the position here at 95.86, and oil is cracking just as we said this right before we stopped the video. I pulled it in, we bought half. Again, we were short 18, and we bought half there at 95.86. I've left the stop in here above at 96.40, just a protective stop. Again, we just took about 35 cents on a third of the position, and we've also moved our stops to 27.21 on the remaining piece right now of the NASDAQ, because if we can't break to new lows at this juncture, we'll take our profits where we have them. Again, we're up about 18 points, worst case scenario on the NASDAQ, and again, we've already taken a third off of our oil position here at 95.86. Let this baby go, see how low it goes further, and it's shaping up to be a very nice day. Patience here. Again, nothing's happening in the bean world. We have not done any trades in the beans. Just wanted to bring that chart in real quick. We had a buy stop in this morning, but only for the first half an hour, and it never filled 25.50. It did hit it later, but again, we pulled our entry on that one, and you can see the beans have really been trading in 2 to 3 cent range all day. So we've done nothing in the beans. We're trading what's expansive today, which is again in the NASDAQ and in oil. So that's where the action is today, and we're again providing opportunities and ideas in these spaces. So we'll continue to let it play out, and great day today, and all profits are locked, and we're ready and locked to go. All right, we were just taken out of our NASDAQ trade here at 27.21. You can see it ticked us out, and we are flat for now on the NASDAQ. Again, took 39 down to 24, and then the last half here at 21. That may be the top that we see for the rest of the day. I'm not sure, but I'm flat. I'll look to re-enter possibly here, but we're good for now. Oil is still 95.95, and again, we are short our position here. We've got our stop in to break even down in this area, 96.20 on half the position. I covered half at 95.85 here, or a third of the position, and we still have the 2/3 left. So we're going to try to ride this into the close. We got another hour and a half, hour 40 minutes until the indices close. So we'll be out of this trade on oil also by the close. It's just it's either going to go lower or it's going to spike and take us out. So that's it. Matter of fact, I will actually move the full complement of stops here between 16 and 20. Kill these orders higher because we're not going there for the day most likely. And again, all profits are locked on the oil side of things also. And that's it. So it's been a good day trading here, and hope to see you at the webinar, and congratulations on that NASDAQ move, and nice breakdown, and keep trading what's moving and what is liquid and what is transparent at mistrade.info. That's what we aim to please and aim to help educate and teach these great trading ideas. All right, peace.